Hello, you beautiful divine soul. I would love to share with you some of my favorite tips and tricks for using a pendulum and how to use this tool for your own intuitive guidance. My name is Sarah Chapman with Soul Abundance IQ. Thank you so much for joining me here. So, the first thing that I always start with whenever I get a new pendulum is to cleanse it. I really like to put mine outside, just like cleansing a new stone. I usually put mine outside overnight. Sometimes I'll work with the moon cycle for this. Sometimes I'll use solar energy and put it outside, maybe even for a full 24 hours. You can also give it a salt bath, basically, and put it in some sea salt. You can also run it under cold water, then hot water, cold water, then hot water, cold water, then hot water 3 times to cleanse it as well. And then I always like to set an intention statement with my pendulum. And so I'll call in my angels and spirits and guides, my spiritual support team, and I will set the intention that only information comes through from my highest self and for my highest good and the highest good of all. And then I think it's always really, really important to remember this is just a tool. This is not an oracle. This is something that is a visual representation of our own personal intuitive information. So it's just here to show us the intuitive information that's already coming through us in a clearer way so that we can visually see it in a much clearer way than just getting answers within ourselves. So when I get a brand new pendulum, I also always ask it to show me yes, show me no, show me maybe. And mine always, my yes, no, maybe is always the same with all the pendulums that I've had. Yours might not be. So that's why I like to do that every single time I get a new one. And everyone's yes, no, and maybe could be different. So, if you have an idea that, oh, yes is always forward and back and no is always side to side, that might not be true for you. So I always recommend tuning in to how your pendulum speaks to you first. And then from there, I think it's also really important to remember it's not about keeping your hand as still as possible, because we can always override the intuitive information that's coming through our mental focus. So our ego, our mind, our free will can always override the intuitive information that's coming through. So it doesn't matter how still you keep your hand. If you really want a yes, you're probably going to get a yes. So don't worry about what your hand is doing. And just relax, take a deep breath, and tune into your higher self. Get into a meditative state before you start to work with your pendulum. And just relax and have fun with it. A lot of times my hand will shake when something is coming through, especially if I'm changing gears or getting a bigger message coming through. And so don't get hung up on staying stiff. Just relax and really have a good time, and just use this as the tool that it is to connect with your intuitiveness and your higher self and the piece of source energy that you are coming through you in all times. So thank you so much for joining me here. I am wishing you all the best. Please share with me about how you like to get your intuitive messages, and if you like to use pendulums, what your experience has been with pendulums, any questions that you have on how to connect with this tool or with your intuition even more.